How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing really well today. Bringing you a new video. This is the Monsters of Midway 2015 Cat 4 race. So you can see I had a pretty good starting position, and right from the rip, we got guys trying to kind of make a move towards the front. I wasn't really trying to do anything too spectacular off the beginning of the race, just kind of wanted to sit in for a while. Some interesting things about this race: if you look up in the right hand corner, it is probably the simplest race you will ever see. It's not very difficult to ride. The course itself is real simple, 4 corners, pretty wide open. There's a couple of little obstacles here and there with road conditions and things like that. And the previous day it had rained, so you'll see some kind of puddles along the sides of the road here. Not much you can do about that other than avoid them. Although we do get pretty close to them a few times during the race. The pavement conditions overall were pretty good. Like I said, there were some divots, some damage to the road. You can kind of see on the left there, there's that long strip of asphalt that's just got kind of like the line through it. Parts of it were decent size, so you had to be careful not to get your wheels stuck in it. So my plan for this race was really to just kind of sit on my teammates' wheels as much as I could and just kind of get a decent lead out towards the end of the race. And I felt like I stuck around on my teammates' wheels for the most part of the race pretty well. I'm still not into perfect form where it was last year, coming out of the end of last year. But I mean, that's to be expected. This is only the 3rd race, I believe, of the season. So, I mean, we're working towards it still. You see on the screen here, it's my teammate Rick and my teammate Rob ahead of me. So I got Luther literally right to the left of me. And we're just kind of working to, you know, stay towards the front. You can kind of see I've fallen towards the back a little bit. I do believe that it's right here or in the next few laps that we actually get a guy who goes off the front. And that guy does actually go on to win the race with a solo break. He was really strong. He made a smart move. I don't know how much you can tell from the video, but there was a decent crosswind. So on this side of the course it's coming from our right, and on the opposite side then it's coming from our left. So I was again trying to stay a lot in the sheltered area as well. You can see the pace of the group kind of pick up here as that guy jumps off the front. Some people try to go with him. I got stuck pretty far back. Otherwise, honestly, I probably would have chased him. Don't know if I would have stayed with him, but probably would have chased the move. That's just kind of right where I am. You put the ball in front of the dog, he's going to chase it. So right up here, coming up around this corner, there is some contact with a few riders ahead of me, and the entire group got super sketched out. Everybody got super afraid that a crash was going to happen. There you go, you see everybody kind of fan out through this corner, which probably wasn't the best idea, but the whole group slowed down a little bit. So here, I think most of the group started to realize that there was a rider off the front. At least the guys in the front of the peloton realized that there was somebody off the front. So we did try and start to organize something. You can see we're starting to get a little bit strung out here. Our speed picks up, power picks up a little bit. And again, I'm just trying to sit on wheels, not do a ton of work, hide from the wind. On this side of the course, again, the wind is coming from the left. So right now I'm not doing a great job of hiding in the wind, but I was also using this side of the course to move up past other riders, because this is where a lot of riders were taking it easy. So I don't know if that was the best idea, because I do feel that I, you know, used a few matches that I probably didn't have to by moving up on this side of the course, especially moving up in the wind on this side of the course. If I wanted to move up, I should have been on the other side, on the sheltered side of the road. So I wasn't comfortable with where I was. I wanted to move up. I wanted to try and catch that guy that was off the front. So I come to the front of the group, and right here at this point, nobody's really wanting to push too hard. Everybody wants to catch the guy off the front, but nobody wants to be the one to put the work in. So you can kind of see pace lines are kind of happening, but not to the extent that they really need to be. I did really enjoy this race. It was a difficult one. The pace was pretty good, and coming into the weekend, I was feeling really good about my chances. You know, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I woke up Friday morning. Probably went to bed with it on Thursday evening with a cold. It wasn't anything too serious, no fever, nothing like that, but it was enough of a congestion and not being able to breathe out of my nose and having some chest issues where I wasn't feeling great going to bed on Friday night, so I wasn't sure of my chances when I came to the race on Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, I got there. I was feeling okay, a little bit better than I had been previously this week. And got on the bike, started riding around the course a little bit. What ends up happening, of course, I'm hacking up half a lung. So I just, again, that's really why I wanted to stay in, not do as much work as I could, and just try and get a decent placement off of working with my teammates. I really wanted to make it a priority this race to try and stick close to at least one of my teammates during the race, and that does happen to be who's on the screen right now, my teammate and coach, Rick. Great guy, awesome rider, knows how to handle his bike, so I'm super comfortable being around him. So again, the group is still just kind of riding hard. I think at this point, a lot of the riders up front either forgot or just didn't realize that that rider was still way up the road. At this point in the race, he's probably about half a lap ahead of us. So if we wanted to catch him, we were going to have to put in some serious teamwork. You'll see this guy come up on my right in the black and white jersey. I see him kind of moving up towards the outside of the road and realize that we do have a little bit more room than I thought we did. So coming up out of this part right here, I decide that that's a good move, and I decide to follow him up the road a little bit. Nobody's using this. This is the sheltered side of the road, so I work up to him. I let his teammate grab on his wheel, which maybe wasn't the best idea, but at this point, again, like I said, I was just really trying to conserve energy and do a little bit less work. So a little bit later down the race, I had moved towards the front. I'm at actually second wheel right now, just trying to stay on this guy's wheel. I know this guy's a decently strong rider. I know he'll stay on the front and he'll pull. So right here, I just kind of try and shelter myself from the wind a little bit on him. Again, not doing the greatest job. Could have done better. But that's still something I'm kind of working on this year, is making sure I know exactly where I need to be when it comes to things like crosswinds. So we do get some guys kind of attacking off the front. These guys came up, said they wanted to work to catch that guy who was off the front, who again is still probably about half a lap ahead of us. So the pace we're moving at right now is a decent pace. We could probably catch him if we maintain that pace. Unfortunately, it just isn't something that we maintained for long enough. And at this point, enough people were sufficiently cooked from trying to go off the front to catch the rider who had made the breakaway on his own. So you can kind of see I'm struggling a little bit here, just trying to stay on this guy's wheel, trying to keep up with the group but still conserve my energy. I'm still about 6th or 7th wheel, so I like where I am as far as positioning goes, and this is getting towards the end of the race as well, so I knew I needed to be up towards the front. So right here I decide to try and move up a little bit more, try and get these guys to work together, because as you can see right now, everybody's just kind of riding in a single pace line, but nobody's taking pulls, so we're not actually putting in heavy work. We're not putting in the work we need to catch the guy off the front. I realize that and just kind of decide to fall back and sit back on wheels. And so right here you can kind of see that we're kicking up the speed a little bit. This guy decides to try and take a flyer off the front. The group reels him in pretty quickly. We're about 6 laps left. Everybody is starting to ratchet up the pace, starting to get a little anxious. Wants to catch the guy off the front, but in reality it's probably not something that's going to happen at this point. He's so far off the front and we're just not working together as well as we should. So we do put the hammer down for a bit here. Again, I'm just trying to stay towards the front, trying to keep my position at least somewhat decent, you know, top 10 wheels. Don't really want to go any further back than that, especially on a course like this where it's so wide open that it's just super easy to fall back if you're not careful. So I do get wedged out to the wind here. Take a look on the right. This is our buddy from the Lincoln Park video. Before this race, I actually went up to him and said, hey, let's make sure we don't touch wheels today. He agreed, and we actually didn't. We had a pretty good race. He was up towards the front most of the time as well. You can kind of see we're starting to work together a little bit. But again, everybody wants to catch the guy off the front, but nobody wants. So right here we're coming into, I believe this is the second to last lap. This is my buddy Jim here, and I do have my teammate Rick right behind me. I know that Jim is a diesel train, so I get on his wheel, and I know that if I can just stick on his wheel and get my teammate Rick up in front of me, they'll have a pretty decent lead out for the finish. And here's the bell lap. And so we start to take off. Jim is a little bit further up the road, and what ended up happening was I fell back a little bit. I didn't really want to, but I wasn't really feeling like I could keep up the pace towards the front of the group, which probably was a poor choice. If I had just maintained my pace and got up to the front of the group and stayed there, I probably would have had a little bit more left in me for the sprint. So you can see those green shoes up there. That's my teammate Rick. I can see him, and I can see my buddy Jim off the front of the group. And so I know I need to get further up. I know I need to move up. I need to get on Rick's wheel if I'm going to have any sort of chance. So I do start to move up. Again, it's on the wind side, and although this is the sheltered side, it was the harder side to go. This Triple X guy right here starts to take a flyer off the front. His teammate joins him, and these two guys end up kind of making a really nice lead out, and they end up taking, I believe, the guy who got let out took second, and then his teammate just kind of fell off towards the back and didn't really get a placing, you know, a notable placing. So I'm still not on my teammate's wheel where I really want to be. I do see him. He's 2 wheels up. We're coming into turn 3. So I know that I need to be either on his wheel or behind the guy that's on his wheel if I really want to have a decent chance. So here we go. We're going into the last 2 corners. You can see those 2 guys ahead of us. And so we start to kick it up around this corner. A lot of guys were sprinting right here, which is so early because the finish was so far ahead. So my plan was to just sit on wheels until I could get past a few riders. I do get on my teammate's wheel for a second there, as you see, and then I really just didn't have a whole lot left. For me this year, I don't want to crash in the early season. I don't want anything to happen in the early season, so I don't really want to contest anything that's not going to be a podium or top 5. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next time.